Hello dear viewers and welcome to a new episode on the Alexis on Arabia and Beyond channel and the continuation of our series on the possible influence of the Islamic Sharia on European law, which is currently the topic of intense discussions. Of course, there were many violent conflicts between Christian Europeans and Arab Muslims, but there are many indicators that a transfer of ideas and legal concepts took place when these cultures met each other. Both cultures posed a challenge for one another, but engaging with each other also led to ideas being copied. Especially after the Christian Europeans reconquered former Muslim territories, there were periods of peaceful coexistence with Muslim minorities. Christian Europeans often enough were considerate towards these Muslims and incorporated some of Islam's laws into their own legal system in order to improve their diplomacy towards these Muslim minorities. Christian Europeans already had their own form of medieval laws and Christian canonic law before their engagement with Muslims. But they lived in times which progressed at a fast pace, in which the more spiritual Christianity could not cope with many new worldly challenges. Islam has both a spiritual as well as a worldly dimension, for which many rules exist. It was of course tempting for Christians to accept these new rules, just as the Muslim world today adopts many of these new rules and regulations for the establishing of a modern state based on international laws. A constant form of learning from one another exists, in which one first learns from the other, only to then teach the other at a later stage. Trade and treaties. Islam played a key role in the drafting of international laws and laws of treaties, especially in trade relation laws, as Christians had to deal with Islamic law. Trade and agreements with Christians were also a new possibility for Muslims to engage in exchange with another culture. Besides the two already existing classifications for territories defining as to whether they were under Islamic rule, also known as Dar al-Islam, and non-Islamic, also called Dar al-Harb, a new classification had to be created for territories they entered into agreements and treaties with, also called Dar al-Ahd. It is worth mentioning that Europeans themselves, as in the case of Norman conquests of Sicily, adopted the Islamic Dhimmi concept for Jews and Muslims. Here, religious minorities were also obliged to pay special taxes which guaranteed autonomies. The Muslim Dhimmi tax for Christians was, however, only a fraction of the amount which Muslim collectors demanded from other Muslims who paid much higher taxes. How much was adopted by each side from the other is today a topic of intense discussions, which are very complex. Many hold the opinion that the Arabs mainly rediscovered old knowledge from the Greeks and previous civilizations, but many Islamic laws were something completely new. Thus, the contact with Muslims led to an intense transfer of ideas and laws, which also led to a new understanding of the modern state and its governance. This especially after a transfer of administrative staff took place, together with the transfer of knowledge. This would later even lead to a breaking of feudal structures, which according to some scientists and historians even led to the development of capitalism and paved the way for the democratization of Europe through the Islamic influence on revolutionary movements in Europe. In our next episode, we will explore how trade contacts incorporated Islamic laws through treaties into European law, especially in Spain, Sicily and England. In addition to this, we will also discuss further pro and contra arguments for the possible influence of Islamic Sharia law on European law in history. See you then.